Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about the 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro. Those of you who own this 2015 15-inch model need to, if you haven't done it already, immediately check your serial numbers with Apple servers. And the reason why is because Apple, over the past month, has issued a recall for problematic batteries that could catastrophically fail. And it's easy to find your serial number. All you need to do is click on the Apple menu, and in the first command setting it says About This Mac. You choose that and you'll see some information there, and at the bottom it says your serial number. This information can be plugged into Apple's website and it will immediately tell you if your machine is affected. Now, if I only told you that, this video wouldn't have any meaning. I would just be regurgitating the news media information that you already probably know. The reason I'm making this video is because, well, you might have a 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro that's like mine. I plugged in my serial number and found that mine wasn't included in the recall, which theoretically means my battery shouldn't have a problem. However, it actually did. And how I knew that is because, well, my AppleCare expired in July 2019, so about a month ago. And since I had no more 3-year warranty, I said, what's the harm in opening the bottom lid of the case and peering inside? At the very least, I could clean out dust. But I also watched some YouTube videos that talked about how to repaste or apply new thermal paste to the CPU and GPU, and I made a video on that actually, and you can see the link to that. Also down in the text description below, I put a link to it. So be sure to have a look at that. That's something you should consider as well. But the topic of the video I'm making now is not about that. It's about the battery. Because when I opened the bottom case, I found, to my surprise, that my battery was swollen, bloated, puffy. There's all manner of adjectives you can use to describe it, but it really surprised me. And the reason why is because when I checked the battery health, I have various utilities that can do that, and the battery health had told me it was at something like 92%. And the charge cycles, which is the information that tells you how many times your battery has completely charged from 0 to 100%, was only 183 times after 3 years of use, which, folks, isn't a lot of times, and that's why the battery health was 92%. So the charge cycles and the battery health percentage all led me to believe my battery should have been fine. And chances are you might plug in your serial number into Apple's website and find, okay, your battery is not covered in the recall, maybe you're safe. But in fact, even though your computer too is telling you you have fairly decent battery health, your battery may not be healthy at all. So if your battery is as puffy and bloated as mine, that is something you need to take care of right away. And so after my thermal paste video, I immediately called Apple and spoke to them about what to do, how to remedy this situation. And they said, well, we need to either have you come into an Apple store or we will arrange for a pickup. And since by the time I get parked and everything, it's about an hour away by car for me to get to the nearest Apple store here in Japan, I decided, well, it's going to cost me the same anyway. Might as well go with a more convenient method. And I went with that, and they arranged to have it picked up. They do the repair, and then they send it back to you. It's not cheap. It costs roughly $200 equivalent, or more than 20,000 Japanese yen, Nima yen. But that includes the two-way shipping. They didn't charge that separately. And it is an official battery repair. You could do the battery yourself, and you might save a few pennies. I mean, I'm not going to say you're going to save a lot, but the reason I didn't go that route, and if you've seen my other videos, you know I'm more than capable of doing the DIY fixes. The reason I didn't do that is because these lithium-ion batteries can fail catastrophically, especially if they're already have a problem in some way, like mine did, as evidenced by the fact it's swollen. If it's swollen, it means there's gas inside, it's trapped, it can't get out, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And every time you keep charging it, it's only going to get worse. And so I didn't want to do it myself just because it's stuck in there really strong with very strong two-sided tape, and you have to pry it out. Now, if obviously you'd want to use a plastic pry tool, but if something happened and you punctured the battery, then the battery would go into severe catastrophic failure mode, and that means that it could start a fire. It could go up in flames. That could injure you or whatever your MacBook is sitting on at the time. So I decided against it just for safety reasons. Even though I'm a very, very meticulous and careful person, I mean, I decided to go with Apple, so I would advise that to you as well. And also, you're assured of getting, right? Of getting a good battery replacement. I say quotes on that assured because, well, Apple created the factory battery and yet it had a problem too, right? But I'm going to guess that the replacement is better than the original that was in there. It took only about 4 days total. So that's again here in Japan, and that was before anybody rushing out to do it. I don't know if there's a rush to get these batteries replaced now or not, but it is something that you would have to do if your battery is swollen. And by the way, airlines, have you seen in the news, I'm sure, many of them have banned the 2015 MacBook Pro completely, not just the affected models, but all of the 2015 models. Some airlines have banned all MacBook Pros. It doesn't matter the model year. They're just, I mean, think about it. How are they going to quickly tell the difference? These non-tech savvy people, how are they going to do it? And now the complete outright ban, most of the news I'm reading, it's saying, well, we are banning it from checked baggage. But who's going to do that? I mean, are you really going to put your $2,000 to $4,000 MacBook Pro inside a checked bag where it's unlocked or TSA can unlock it? Probably not, and you shouldn't. But so there's this ban going on here, and even if you replace your battery, you will still be affected. But whether you fly or not, that doesn't matter. It's a safety hazard. More specifically, it's a fire hazard if you don't replace that battery. So I would strongly encourage you to do that. And once you get the battery replaced, it should be flat. It shouldn't be puffy at all. And it should be looking well, as you see in my video now. Now, once you get the battery replaced, you'll get something back. I don't know if they give this in the US or not, but this is what I got back from Apple Japan. And it's a pretty nifty little semi-transparent folder here. You get to keep that. I don't know how much. Maybe I could sell it for $20 on eBay or something if you don't need it. But it comes with that. And then you get a sheet of paper that will tell you from Apple Care Support. And it will tell you your customer information. Here in Japan, it's got two sides to it. So you've got the Japanese side and English side. So if you can't speak Japanese, that's okay. You've got an English side here. It shows you your repair ID, your machine. And in my case, it says it replaced the battery because it was swollen. And it shows the model numbers. The item number is 66102-536. But it also says they removed and replaced the top case, which is very nice and something I didn't expect. And actually, I didn't even need it because my top case, including the keyboard, was in good condition. But basically, the replacement of the top case means it will replace your keyboard too. And so when I got it back, before I even read this, I was feeling my top case, and wow, it kind of has that little metallic rough surface texture you're used to. I'm sure that you're aware of what I mean. And of course, the top of all keys, they're no longer shiny. If you type on keys long enough, right, the matte finish kind of shines up a bit. Well, that's of course gone. They're all in the original matte condition. And that was quite nice too. So for that roughly $200 equivalent that you're going to have to pay to get the battery replaced, you're going to most likely, I don't think my case was special, you're going to have that replacement as well. Now keep in mind, that in my situation, my battery was swollen, but not to the extent that it bursted out of its case. I mean, some batteries are that bad. Before they even catch on fire, they'll swell and swell and swell, and they'll bend the aluminum body of the case and even break out of the case itself. And usually that, when there's enough pressure on it, there might be a crack, or the battery will erupt and then go into flames. But I didn't have any of that, so they technically didn't have to replace the top case, but they did anyway. Also, I noticed that if you go onto iFixit's website, iFixit will show you how to do the battery replacement, but basically they are showing you on the iFixit website how to address a battery replacement, and even how to take out the entire motherboard if you need to do it. So it's clear that Apple, when they replace the top case, they have to take out your motherboard, but it seems that they did not take out did not take off the heatsink from the CPU and GPU, which means it left my thermal grizzly cryonaut repaste in place. So again, when you take out the whole motherboard, it's not going to remove or mess up your thermal paste replacement should you have done that prior to the battery replacement. And I know this to be true. I didn't pull it off and check, but checking my thermals and performance, I could find that yes, it was the same as I had checked before, so I know that the thermal grizzly cryonaut was still on there in the same condition it was before. And so that's it, folks. I really just made this video as a stern warning to you. Even if your battery reports good, even if your serial is not listed, you may have, like my situation, a bad battery, and leaving it like that and continuing to charge it is only a recipe for disaster. Literally, it could burn the house down. Now, you're not seeing a lot of these reports in the news. You're not seeing houses burn down here and there, but it technically could happen. If you look up on Google, just Google it now, the failure rates of lithium-ion batteries, they can go up in flames, especially these high-powered batteries like that are in this computer. So I would strongly advise you to first of all check your serial number and then buy the tools necessary to open the bottom case, even if you don't intend to repaste at all. Okay, cost you about $10 if you don't already have the Pentalobe screwdriver required to remove the bottom case. You can see a link down in the text description below for that, of the tools that I bought for my repaste. And since you already have it open anyway, you might as well take a little soft, clean paintbrush and at the very least, brush out the dust, because dust can cause your machine, because of the clogged ports there, or vents there, to run hotter than it should. But I would also encourage you, since the case is open, to repaste as well, even if you find your battery is fine. Just because, well, you can look at my other video and see the reason why, but 22% improved performance. And yeah, so I'm not anybody special. I don't think I got lucky. It's just the old thermal paste dries out and needs replacing after a while. And by now, I'm sure all of you who are watching this who have a 2015 MacBook Pro, your Apple Care is definitely expired by now. So you have nothing to lose by actually taking off the heatsink. You have no more warranty that's going to be affected. Just as long as you use common sense, you're going to be fine. Even if all you want to do is check your battery, so long as you're not doing it with a drink in one hand and unscrewing it in the other, use some common sense about it, you should be fine. Don't drop your screwdriver on the circuit board or things like that, Just carefully open the bottom case and check. And that's what it's all about. So be safe, check your MacBook Pro to be safe, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.